Want to thank Comics Matter with your boy Zach for the video topic. He didn't ask me to do this or anything. I watched his video and became inspired to do this one for good reason. He didn't really read that series all the way through. He reviewed it once in a while, but I kind of wanted to go in depth to why this book has failed. And it has failed completely and disastrously. And it's a shame too, because Immortal Hulk was one of the best comic books out. It was great. I loved reading it. I was excited for the next issue. And that's despite the writer who had blocked me. He did a chain block on probably EVS or Zach when he was on Twitter still. He's not on Twitter anymore. But when you do a chain block, you unknowingly block, lots of people. And that sucks because you block potential customers. But they don't care about that. That's something they don't care about if they block customers. But we'll get to Al Ewing. What I want to do is give you an outline of what this book was. It started off with great art and a great story. So this is from the first or second issue. It's a picture of the Devil Hulk, and he looks a lot like old school Hulk. The book came about because Bruce Banner was dead. He was gone. I think he was taken out in Civil War II. I don't remember. So don't hold that to me. But anyway, he got taken out. I remember by Hawkeye. Hawkeye shot him with a special arrow that Bruce Banner made. And essentially, the Hulk was dead. Eventually, they brought him back in Immortal Hulk. Well, no, he was brought back before Amadeus Chow took the powers. We had that weird arc where the Hulk was somebody else. But then eventually, they brought back Bruce Banner. And the ticket with this was that it wasn't Bruce Banner can't die now, and every time he got killed, the Hulk would come out and he would go right wrongs and pretty much brutally take people out. The book was very much a horror book. It had a lot of the themes of the old school Hulk books with Bruce Banner wandering around town to town, but it had like a horror element to it. It was different, and it was really, really good for about 17 issues. It was probably the best comic on stands, and the sales were really good, which I'm going to show you right now. In fact, the books ended up becoming worth money. Immortal Hulk 2, 3, 4, those were going for almost $100 for regular editions a piece. So here's an eBay listing. It's actually dropping. I think these were up to like 130 at one time. I see them as low as 60 right now. And one of the reasons that these earlier Immortal Hulk issues are worth a lot of money is because after the first issue, which they typically end up shooting a lot of, like, they will sell, comic shops like 80,000 issues of number one, because for some reason idiots still think number ones are worth money, I guess. It's really funny. The number 2s and 3s are the ones that are going to be worth anything nowadays. But the series got so popular via word of mouth that people were going back and buying up all those old issues, and they sold out, therefore raising the value. It's one of the first times I've seen a book do that in a long time. So here's the peak. Went up to like 90,000. Here's an interesting thing, by the way, with these numbers. All of these numbers underneath that 16 are all reprintings. You've got a number 2 and a number 1 here on this list. This is all for April 2019. These are probably like 3rd or 4th printings. So you got 3rd or 4th printings here, still selling pretty decent. The book was hot. And then we come to current day, November 2019. We've dropped down to 45,000 and 50,000. That's from a peak of 90. And they've been consistently pretty low. Issue 25 jumped back up to 80,000. And I think that's because that was kind of a special issue. I just dropped this book, and I'm going to get into why. But what could have caused those sales to go from hot 90,000, tons of reprints, to this? Like, now you have 24 and 25 being reprinted, and that's it. What could have caused that? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Let me go back to this real quick. Like I said, this is issue 1 artwork. Look how great it is. And it was consistently this good for the longest time. It was great. Then look what they change it to. Then you go to issue 28 and you get this. I also want you to take note of the protesters in the back, because that's going to come up. Look how terrible this artwork is. This is a problem across Marvel, by the way. They have these Tumblr level artists. They literally like go and look for people outside, the dumpster. It's like, oh, well, you can rummage through trash. Have you thought about drawing comics at Marvel? They have really, really bad artists. This is not Marvel caliber talent. This is trash. But Marvel don't care. We can get into that at the end of the video, but I want to show you a dip in the quality. That's not the only thing that changed. No, it went from a horror book to this. So I just pulled up the article by CBR that they put out. The Immortal Hulk just brought back Planet Hulk for Socialist or Puritans or whatever you want to call them. The crazies. And it's fully political. It went from, stalking around in the shadows to Hulk doing, some crazy stuff to pretty much Bruce Banner being woke and complaining about corporations and capitalism. Pretty much going after a corrupt oil company or something. It's really stupid. And of course, he's trying to gain the youth, turning, pretty much turning kids into Antifa types, running around, and he calls them his Planet Hulk. It's really stupid. You had Bruce Banner giving like a speech to the world about how, he's going to break down systems and stuff. It's really sad how far this book has fallen because it was a great book. But sure enough, they dipped down the quality to what you saw just before, and they took it to a full political thing. They say right here, the Immortal Hulk has become one of Marvel's most political comics, blending horror and action to create a dynamic backdrop for Bruce Banner. It's not horror at all anymore. It actually hasn't really been horror in a while. It's been at least 9 issues since I would say it was a horror book. I mean, who would have thought that it would go that way? Because like every single writer in comics, go and take a look at his Twitter feed. The entire thing is filled with political messaging. Not any kind of diverse messaging. No, it's all one-sided. All super, super far left stuff is the entire Twitter feed. I mean, you can pause anywhere you want, and I'm sure you'll see some kind of political messaging. It's all there. This guy is extremely political, and that's why, of course, his book has went broke. Just more examples of some art from the book, by the way, right here. This is from issue 28. Look how terrible it is. Compared to that first issue, look how much the quality drops. That's something that's not new to this book, by the way. They'll do this in a lot of their books. They'll put really good artists on the first couple, and then they'll shuffle in these Tumblr artists. And they probably pay them pennies, by the way. But it's just ridiculous. This is a big problem, and it really does prove that money doesn't matter to the people at Marvel. They have a genuine hit on their hands, selling 90,000 issues. And then they're like, well, let's just take it full political messaging now. Let's go fully political with it. And the sales drop off. And they're going to continue to go down. This book's going to end up at 30K. I predict probably in about 2 months, 3 months, you're going to see this book pretty much almost to cancellation numbers because people don't want to read this stuff. People don't want this. And it's, some people say, well, oil corporations are a problem. I'm not here to debate the politics of what's right or wrong. The point is, if I wanted to be informed on that, I would read some news or something. I wouldn't want to read it in my comic book. Stan Lee said, he would put social issues and stuff in his books, but it'd be more in the background. He always said it was important not to beat you over the head with it. And that's why books during his time sold. It's okay to have some of that commentary in your books, but you don't beat people over the head with it. These people are so creatively bankrupt that the only thing they know how to do when they write is to beat you over the head with the political stuff. And that's one of the reasons why American comics are dying. And they probably will be gone in the next few years unless something changes. And it's sad. It's sad to see that medium go, but there's nothing, I don't think there's any saving it because they just won't stop. They're willing to throw a book out that was smashing sales records, actually selling for a decent price on the secondhand market. All throw it all away because they want to beat you over the head and lecture you. Sad, man. It's really sad. Anyway, give me your thoughts on this. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about this? Were you reading this book? What do you think about the comic industry? Throw a like up there. Remember, comments and likes are very important. They help move a video, so please consider giving the video some interaction. Also, share the video. That's also an important thing. Make sure you still subscribe. Subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell, and I will see you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.